What's going on YouTube? My name is Dr. Tony Doe. I'm a physical therapist, and in this video I want to talk about the Conor McGregor leg fracture that occurred last night versus Dustin Poirier in the third fight, the trilogy fight. I was watching it with my girlfriend and I was very taken back by what happened because the camera angle changed at a bad time and it looked like he just stepped back and tripped, and then all of a sudden I see his leg just kind of flailing there. So let's discuss what happened. So at this point in time, I'm unsure if medical records have actually been released stating which bones fractured or the extent of the fractures, but in my opinion, bringing up the interactive anatomy map here. So this is the left foot here, looking at the tibia bone here, as well as the fibula bone, and then there's the ankle joint. In my opinion, what happened was he fractured his distal tibia, and it's called a pylon fracture. So this bone right here more than likely had a crack right here, and also more than likely he also fractured his smaller fibula bone. And the tibia actually articulates with the ankle, and online a lot of people were saying, you know, he dislocated his ankle or he fractured his ankle, which more than likely is not the case because it was too high up for that. And the ankle joint is way down here, and what it looked like the bone actually broke was more towards up here, so more so a pylon fracture. And in this case, it may have fractured here, which then the force would have went up the tibia, transmitted over to the fibula, and caused a fracture there as well, especially when he put his weight down into his foot right here. Now, watching the video from an overhead view here, it's kind of hard to tell exactly from this angle exactly what happened until he stepped. But in my opinion, what actually happened, or where the fracture initially took place, was when he lunged towards him right there. You can see his foot moved laterally, and that's not really a position your foot should move to that extent in this position. And I believe that's where the fracture initially occurred. And then when he picked up his foot, the bone had already broken. So when he set it down, the bone had broken. There's still stability in the ankle, but higher up in the ankle, there's no more stability there. So then, boom, puts all his weight on it, further fracturing it, and then falls back. And I feel for the guy at this point, because he's looking at his foot like, what the heck just happened? And then you see Dustin coming at him, and he has to guard up and eat like 3 or 4 more punches. So it was just a ruckus of a series of like 30 seconds or so. So what may have caused this? In my opinion, there are 3 different things, 3 different scenarios. The first one being this was a freak accident where he just stepped back the wrong way, put all of his weight on it the wrong way, and then at that point it caused the fracture, right? It happens all the time in sports, but in my opinion, he's very trained for this. He's done this his whole entire life. This has probably never happened before, so very unlikely. Number 2 being, when he was kicking Dustin a lot in the beginning, he was actually throwing a lot of kicks this time around. He may have caused a microfracture at that point, and then when he, lunged forward and then subsequently stepped on it, that may have caused it to actually fracture. And then number 3 was that this may have been a pre-existing thing where he may have had issues with his tibia or fibula at this point throughout his training camp, and they may have been looking at this. Quick interjection into the video. Just saw a report that confirmed that Conor's head coach stated that Conor had ongoing issues with his tibia, where they actually ordered MRI to keep an eye on it throughout his fight camp. So again, probably stress fractures throughout his entire fight camp leading up to the event that got worse with the kicks, and then the torsional forces ultimately made the fracture happen. Looking at the video here, now Dustin said that he thinks that Conor, when he kicked him, Dustin checked him and that caused a fracture. And maybe, but looking at the video here, I'm gonna try to slow it down. But when he kicked him, it looks like the ankle actually hit. And yeah, that could cause enough force to travel up the tibia and cause the microfracture, but again, very unlikely based on where this foot landed at that point. So it looks like it's this midfoot, maybe a little bit higher up towards the ankle. Again, a huge possibility, but more than likely number 3, it's kind of a long series of events of microfractures that led to this. Now, as far as bone stresses go, bones handle forces very well actually, and it actually is very hard to fracture or break a bone, right? It handles compression forces very well, tension, shearing, but what it doesn't handle very well are torsional forces. So throughout the weeks, he may have, again, had those stress fractures, which did completely fracture the bone. But what ended up ultimately fracturing it is a torsional force. So as you'll see here in the video again, bringing up the main video, it's when he lunges forward here, there was a little torsional force there. But ultimately, when he picked and set his foot down, there's no more stability. and then there's a large torsional moment there that ultimately caused the fracture. Now, what's the timeline of his recovery going to look like? In my opinion, it's going to be around a year or so until he's fully able to, you know, kind of run on it and do things like that, and over a year for him to get back into the octagon and do things of that nature, because there's a lot of different forces that your bones have to undergo in the octagon. But he more than likely has surgery today where they put a lot of rods and pins into his bones to stabilize it, and then he's going to be in a boot for the foreseeable future, anywhere from, I'd say, 4 to 7 weeks or so, where he's not going to be able to put weight on it, and then he's going to gradually be able to move his ankle, put weight on his foot, and then really maximizing the rehab after that 6 or so month mark where the bone is kind of, you know, adequately healed at that point to where he can start putting a little bit of weight on it. But it's going to be a long road to recovery, but with his work ethic, resources, and all that, he'll be able to get back fairly quickly. That's gonna be it for the video, ladies and gentlemen. If you did in fact enjoy it, help myself out with the YouTube algorithm and leave a comment and a like down below. And let me know what you think. Did you enjoy the fight? Did you think it was overhyped? Did you not even watch it and you just end up watching this video, which I do thank you for. But in my opinion, I thought that the fight was actually very entertaining. I was very much so looking forward to it, and especially the first half when they were standing up, it was very entertaining. Once they got to the ground and spent a minute and a half grappling, again, grappling can only be so entertaining, but I thought overall it was a good fight. Definitely tragic ending, but I wish Conor all the best moving forward. If you did, in fact, sorry, there's dogs just barking outside the place here, but we'll see you all in the next video. Dr. Tony Doe, checking out. I'm just gonna use that.